Hello, and welcome to the July 25th Women in Product Toastmasters Club meeting. I am your Sergeant at Arms, Amy Kirkland, and today our theme is product market fit. Finding product market fit is what we all strive for with our products. It is crucial to the success of our products and for us as product managers. Today, I'm looking forward to hearing about everyone's journey to finding product market fit. And at this time, I'd like to introduce you to our President, Erica Tamburo.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to the Women in Product Toastmasters Club meeting. For the second time this year, we've achieved Vibrant Club of the Month as we're growing by leaps and bounds. So thank you, everyone, for your hard work and dedication to making the club successful. And thank you for joining us, all our new members. This celebration is a perfect segue into the club's theme for the month, which is community. We're a very young club. We just started our second year, and we're all busy, successful product and aspiring product managers. So I wanted to take a pause and just talk on how we're building this community and how you can participate in the community and bring your ideas to community building as well. During meetings, we've decided to add a new opportunity during club meetings for people to ask open questions to speakers. So following a prepared speech, the club will have the opportunity to follow up with you and get to know you. If you don't have a role for the day, please take advantage and ask a question. Our Toastmaster of the Day, Anisha, will be helping facilitate that new interaction. Also, during today, you'll have the opportunity to give speech feedback. We invite everyone to private message feedback to the speakers of the day. Let them know what you love, let them know what you learned, or point out an opportunity for growth for them. Outside of meetings, we are restarting up the networking events, so be on the lookout for a poll coming soon to choose the next time for that. Svetlana's interview prep sessions are ongoing as well, so that's a great resource that you can participate as an interviewee or an interviewer. Also hosting co-working sessions 2 Tuesdays a month. So if you're interested, if you need a little bit of accountability to keep on track with your projects or would like some extra feedback on a speech, please feel free to join me on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Eastern. Send me an email if you'd be interested. One thing that we are doing fantastic recently that I want to give props to everyone for are supporting each other through the email chains when it comes to scheduling, volunteering for roles, helping others fill roles that they can't fill. This is an absolutely beautiful example of community and teamwork. And I'm really happy to see us coming together like that. Another community building thing we have is a club member directory. So if you haven't found the club member directory, please look for that on the drive. Connect with each other over LinkedIn, schedule some virtual coffees, see what each other is excited about, and looking forward to learning. We are also going to be starting up a new Toastmaster mentoring program, so be on the lookout for a poll. You'll be able to volunteer to be a mentor, or you can ask for mentoring. We're excited to help with an onboarding buddy or help people out with specific projects. So keep a lookout for that. And any other ideas for community building efforts, let us know. We'd love to hear, maybe you want to take up on a project on something, or there's something else that we could be doing better. So, all right. And just a couple of club announcements before we get started with the meeting today. A member had asked about meeting duration, and we had a discussion at the last leadership meeting. in order to make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak and work through their pathways, we think it's best to keep the meetings to an hour and a half long. We meet twice a month, and this is the standard meeting time that Toastmasters have. So we really think it's best for the club to stick with this. Members, please check out the member drive and the member Facebook page. And if you have any issues getting to either one of those, please let us know. There will be a scheduling shift coming up in September due to the holidays. So August 8th and 22nd will be our next meeting, September 12th and 26th, and then we'll make a shift. So keep an eye out for that. That way we don't interfere with all the holidays coming up. And then we'll have another shift in May when Mother's Day comes up. Dues are due October 1st. So internally, our deadline is going to be somewhere around September. So keep an eye out for an email from Rosie. There's a Toastmasters International Convention, August 23rd and 28th. So check it out. They'll have some great speakers for sure. And today, Lori will be hosting a Pathways training session following the club meeting. So all your burning Pathways questions, Lori will be able to answer. And following our next meeting will be our new Q&A sessions. All right, so that is all. Lots of announcements for today, but a lot of exciting things going on. So before we start our meeting, we always like to say hello to our guests and give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. And since we're talking about community today, maybe you could share with us what you're looking for in a community to help you support your leadership and speaking goals. So Namitha, I apologize, hopefully I said that right. Are you with us? Namit? Okay. Priyanka, are you
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. This is Priyanka. And I've actually been following you on Facebook. And I'm pretty inspired, and even about like what Erica just explained, I was like, wow, you know, I already want to be a part of this wonderful community. So a little bit about me. I'm from a non-traditional background, so pretty much did economics, and I specialized in international and development economics. And after I graduated, I worked for a division of HP, basically, you know, like using my customer-centric research and analytical skills, being the voice of the customer. So I was a customer insights analyst on the customer advocacy team, and really, you know, taking my customer feedback and analyzing their pain points and working closely with product and engineering and, you know, helping them, and even marketing, UX, and just helping them shape the product and customer experience. And then after that, I just started doing like business analytics and strategy for Snapfish, which is a division of HP. And again, you know, working with different cross-functional teams, global stakeholders, and analyzing customer pain points, coming up with KPIs, success metrics, understanding the drivers of business performance. So yeah, and then in my role, like I've just been really fascinated by the work PMs do. And I almost felt I was like a product manager, even though like formally I wasn't. And then after that, I was just consulting for financial services company, Ascensus. So, and then last year, because of the pandemic, I have a 5-year-old daughter. So she was pretty much at home, and I was at home, but now I'm just looking to get back to the workforce. And I think I'm really interested in being a product manager, because I think that's what I really enjoyed doing, even my work, you know, with HP. So basically I'm an aspiring product manager. And I'm really looking, I know probably you can sense some nervousness. So I'm really trying to get that confidence and communication skills. I do love networking. So I don't know if I'm like one-on-one, I don't come across as that nervous, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm really looking to, build on my communication skills and even be a more structured in my thinking. And I'm looking for mentorship. I want to connect with, like-minded people and just be a part of this wonderful community. And thank you so much for inviting me to this meeting.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope you enjoy today's meeting. You'll get a real sense of what all we do and share and learn together. So hope you enjoy it.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Okay, Namit, can we try again?
Hi, I'm so sorry. I had issues with my microphone, so I joined using my phone. I hope you're all able to hear me now.
We can.
Great, thank you. Yep, my name is Namit, and this is my second meeting as a guest. And I apologize for not being on video as I'm not feeling too well today, but I promise to be fully present from the next meeting onwards. So what I'm looking to get out of this community is to really be able to improve my public speaking skills, impromptu public speaking skills specifically. And yeah, I also am looking at improving the clarity of speech and also being more structured in my thought process. And I really want to be outside of my comfort zone and challenge myself. And thanks for having me here as a guest.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Let's see, we also have Siri.
Hi, hello everyone. This is Siri. I'm a product manager at Morgan Stanley, working at New York. And this is my first time joining Toastmasters for Women in Product. I've briefly been part of Toastmasters a few years ago, not for the product community though. So I got really excited when I got to know this community exists. And I'm looking forward to meet all of you and talk to you about product management and then learn more techniques on how you guys do your day-to-day. And what I'm trying to get out of this session and this community is try to be a better speaker, improve in terms of communication, especially to slow down on my talking and then make it more concise and clear. That's my main goal. And I'm so excited, and thank you all for hosting this and inviting me today. Thank you.
I'm so glad you found us, Siri. Let's see, Roxana.
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello? All right, great. Great to meet you all. And thanks for having me today as a guest. I heard about the WIP Toastmasters group at the Women in Product conference. So just been really excited to join. I actually just recently moved to New York City too. So I'm just kind of looking to have a fresh start and have a new community of like-minded folks and women in product. I actually came to product from kind of an engineering background. So I've been doing a lot of product development work on the electrical engineering side in the medical device space. And now I'm actually a product manager in like the kind of more fitness consumer space. And I'm just looking to transition some of my kind of speaking from more kind of technical oriented speech, I guess, and content to, just speeches that are a bit more inspiring and visionary and just kind of communicating excitement and, maybe just being a little bit more, I don't know, yeah, like less kind of precise in the kinds of things that I feel like I need to say. So yeah, just looking forward to some mentorship and kind of learning and really excited to meet you all.
Oh, welcome, Roxana. It's nice to have more East Coast people. I think we have one more. Richu, are you here?
Yes, Erica. Hi. Hi to everyone on the team here, and thank you for having me. I'm Richu. It's Rich with the U. I know a lot of folks actually pronounce it as Rishu or Riku. Just wanted to make sure. I'm based in San Francisco. I'm a product manager in a B2B in the networking space, so cloud security and cloud applications. And yeah, actually, I ran into this Toastmasters team through the Toastmasters website. So I was part of a different team in South Bay. When I moved to San Francisco, I was looking for a new Toastmasters club, and I'd been part of Women in Product on Facebook for a very long time. Mentored as a mentor and as a mentee on that group. So I'm actually quite excited to bring together both. My single intention to really be here is I come from a very technical engineering background, and I want to really do good at storytelling. So I want to bring my personality and my flavor into product management, along with forming a very cohesive and impactful story, because product is not just about features, functions, and I'm sure all of us here know that. So how do you communicate the value of a product to an end customer through a storytelling, specifically in the B2B space, because that's not very easy. All right, so that's about me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for finding us. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. We hope you enjoy today's meeting. And one more reminder that we'll have Pathways training following the meeting. So stick around if you want to hear more about Pathways. All right, I am happy to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, Anwisha Ghosh. She is our new VP of PR. She's a product manager who enjoys every bit of being able to ideate, design, experiment, and create with the help of her amazing customers and team. She specializes in contact center technologies and customer service-based products. Starting as a bioinformatician, she enjoys using her data skills to make her decisions. And when Anwisha is not thinking of product management, she's probably watching or reading something related to horror or thinking of subliminal messages within the movie The Exorcist. Very cool. Without further ado, Anwisha.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster, and hi, everyone, fellow Toastmasters as well as guests. I'm extremely excited to be hosting this particular session because I think today's topic is pertinent to everyone, no matter whether you are an aspiring APM, product manager, or even head of product. It's product market fit. It's ultimately the culmination of all the efforts that we put together with our product team, whether it's development, whether it's UX, whether it's getting customer feedback and putting it all together. So I'm sure you can imagine putting yourself in this description or this imagery that I have. Imagine you've been spending the last couple of months on this particular product. You've been going through the BRD and you've been having these discussions with your development team, and they've burned the midnight oil and they've brought together this amazing product that even your VP agrees is going to be game changer. And you toggle the release button and it goes live, and you keep watching it for 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, but somehow the adoption is not that great. Unfortunately, this is the reality of many different releases that we have. It just means that you may not have found your perfect product market fit. Does that mean you throw everything away and you've just, burned thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars behind this? The answer is no. The idea is that this entire process is experimental. You try something out, you feel the market, and if you are able to successfully pivot out of it and come out with some sort of an outcome, that means you just took your product into the perfect market fit. So then what exactly is product market fit? The idea is you may think that your particular product is exciting, the solution is grand, you have AI, you have blockchain, but the question to ask is, have you found the perfect problem that people think that they have and that they are ready to pay for it? That is true product market fit. The idea is to find that gap that your product would be able to find. And people, if you introduce the product and then for some reason take it away, if people agree, there's a golden test called 40% test. If 40% of the surveyors agree that they are disappointed that they're no longer able to have that product, or 40% say that they would do anything to have that back, that means you're on the track of success. And there are many, many metrics around this. And I'm sure in today's talks, as we hear our amazing ladies talking about product market fit, you may even hear some of the common metrics around it. Say, for example, what is the survey results telling you? What is your A/B testing telling you? How many people, what's your bounce rate? Say, for example, how many people are coming to your website but not doing anything? That's another great indicator that you need to probably tune it a little bit better. There are many, many frameworks. One common framework around this is probably the lean product process that was introduced by Dan Olson. The idea is 6 steps: identify your target customer, understand the big customer needs, know what you offer as a value proposition, specify what exactly is your minimum viable product. And then from there, create something minimal. It could very well just be a website, but it should give you an idea to experiment whether it's working or not. And then final step, test and see if that is striking a chord with your customers. And remember, it's not a big bang. It's always an experiment. So try and find the minimal way to come into the market. And with this is just a minuscule introduction to the topic. And I am excited to actually have this amazing discussion to be had. With this, I'd like to introduce the roles that we have for this particular meeting. Let me pull that up. So today we have General Evaluator Rosie Hernandez, First Evaluator Ashley Harrison, Second Evaluator Clara Kang, Third Evaluator Laurie Edwards, Grammarian Meenal Patel, Our Counter Erica Tamburo, Timer Sam Doctor, Vote Counter Sarah Gagnon, and finally Table Topics Coordinator Carlene Cameron. So with that, I'll start the train by introducing our grammarian Meenal Patel, and she is going to introduce the word of the day. So handing it over to you, Meenal.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, as grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is compelling, which means evoking interest, attention, or admiration in a powerfully irresistible way. So a few examples of using the word are, the book was so compelling that I could not put it down. The compelling commercial made me want to purchase a new Jeep. If the headline is not compelling, it will not capture the reader's attention. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I'll give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Meenal. And so with this, we are now officially ready to meet our speakers. The idea would be that we would be going through each of the speeches. After each speech, we will take a 1-minute gap where we're going to try something new, as our president, Erica, mentioned. Please listen to the speech. And if you have questions, during that 1 minute, I'll open the panel so you can ask questions to our speakers. And then after the speeches, we will have our evaluators talk about, actually, we're going to have our table topics, and then we will have our evaluators speaking, right? So we'll get started with our speeches. The very first speech that we have is from Betty Young, I think. That's right, Betty Ann Young. Thank you so much, Betty. And her speech is titled Finding My Career Purpose and Vision. And what's exciting about her speech, which I'm sure you will really associate with, is that we are products for ourselves as well, not just what we do in our product management role. So she will be talking about how she uses the product market fit concept with her own career. So handing it over to you, Betty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, for the introduction. I'm so excited to be doing my first speech today. And like she mentioned, my title of my speech is Finding My Career Purpose and Vision. So when I think of product market fit, most product managers would think of this idea as it relates to software or hardware product development. I like to relate this idea to finding a product market fit within my own career. For most people, like myself, finding a career that I find passion in feels like a series of experiments. When I first graduated from college, I had no idea what I wanted to do and ended up working several jobs that I did not feel gratifying to me. Through research, I ended up finding product management, a career that piqued my interest, but I knew pivoting into that role would not be easy, and it would take quite a bit of experience to get there. After interviewing at several companies, I finally found my first product role as a coordinator. The team was great. I finally felt like I found my spark that I was looking for. Over the course of my time there, 2 years to be exact, I was a young, doe-eyed coordinator that increasingly took on more responsibilities within the team to try to prove my worth. My manager would often give me verbal praises and told me that he was impressed by my work ethic. And he even went as far to say that I was one of his favorite employees. So for the first time in my career, I took on the very daunting task of asking for a promotion. To my surprise, my manager told me that he did not see me as a product manager at that company and that it would take me nearly half a decade working there as a coordinator before I can even be considered for a PM promotion. At that moment, I realized that although the team and company was great, it did not align with my career goals. And I knew I wanted to work with a manager that believed in me and could foster my growth to becoming a PM. After a few months, I decided to leave that role and find a company that would believe in me and provide me with a clear roadmap into the career I ultimately wanted. Subsequently, I moved on to work at a startup that provided me with the opportunity to try my hand at product management and lead a small group of engineers to build a product that has never been launched to the market before. This was a very exciting venture. At the time, I felt like I found my career market fit. I was at a company that allowed me to have a position that I could only dream of in my previous company, and I'm finally a PM, something that I long waited for. However, if any of you have ever been at a startup or worked at a startup, the product vision changes rapidly, and finding a true product market fit for the company is a race against time before funding runs out. Unfortunately, with the startup I worked at, funding ran out and half the company, including myself, was laid off. So although I did find the position that I always wanted and thoroughly enjoyed, I found that early stage startups have their own challenges that are not a fit for my risk-averse personality type. Fast forward to current day, I now work at Amazon, where I'm a program manager lead of user research on all Amazon devices. Although I am not a product manager at Amazon, I also learned to not be afraid to move away from the original idea of when I see a better opportunity. The company seems to check all the boxes for me that I was looking for throughout my career. It is large enough where funding is not an issue, and I'm in a role that I find fulfilling and compelling. It is in alignment with my career goals, and most importantly, I found a manager that believes in my ability to succeed at the company. He actually believed in my talent so much that within the first month, a position opened up to be a program manager team lead, and he offered me the role. Of course, I took it. And now I am a lead of 10 PMs and 10 coordinators within my team. Even though I am satisfied with my current role, I know that finding a market fit is an ever-evolving process that will continue to grow with me as the market needs change and as I grow professionally as well. What I learned is that whether it is a product or a career market fit, it is a two-way street. Not only are you meeting the needs of the company, but it also has to be fulfilling to you and fit your goals and meet your needs as well. Don't just accept any role that comes your way. Learn to say no and to walk away from careers that don't fit your vision and values. For any of you who are on this conquest of finding a career, I know it's not easy, but it is important to believe in your worth and have faith that a career that aligns with your highest purpose is out there for you, and don't be afraid of experimenting. As many would say, it is not the destination, but the journey that matters in the end. So with that being said, thank you for taking the time to listen and having me today. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Betty. And that was really inspiring, I'm sure, especially for all of us in different stages of our career, right from aspiring APMs to product managers looking for that next step. So with that, I am going to open up the panel for the 1 minute while the evaluators basically take time to evaluate. So opening it up, does anyone have any questions for Betty?
I'll kick us off. Betty, can you explain what a program manager is? I have never worked with one, so I'm curious what that role entails.
Yeah, of course. So within every company, I think the structure of a product manager differs from company to company. But within my company, I work under the product umbrella. So I work alongside product managers. Each product manager manages their own product line. And for my role, I work on user testing and ensures that our product is launched to internal customers prior to launching ultimately to the public. So I'm a part of the product piece, as in the user research portion and testing portion. And then I also work alongside a product manager in making sure that it's a product market fits and it fits our go-to-market strategy.
Perfect. We have time for one more question.
May I ask a question? Priyanka here.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Betty. First of all, great speech. Thank you so much. It was inspiring. I have a question. So how did you know, I know you did a bunch of roles and then you just came to the conclusion that you wanted to be in PM. So how did you know you wanted to be a PM, and like what success metrics did you have?
Yeah, so throughout my career, I took on different roles. I was in sales, I was in purchasing. I tried out I did a lot of A/B testing with my own career. And I tried out my hand with different roles within the company to see what would fit me the best. And I find that many of the roles that I was in, especially in sales, it was very commission driven, something that I did not find fit my personality. And there's no exact metric. It's almost like finding love, right? How do you define love, and how do you know that's the perfect partner for you? It's all about what feelings it provides you when you are in that role. And in those two roles, I did not find it to be gratifying. In purchasing, I felt like it was very mundane, working with Excel all day. It was the same thing over and over again. And I find that in product, you are able to be the voice of the customer. And on a day-to-day basis, a lot of PMs could also attest to this, but it's different, right? You're working at engineers one day, you have different issues that you're working through and you're problem solving throughout the day. And I found that was really impactful to me. And I found that I could make an impact within the organization, improve its bottom line. And I could also leverage my personality, because I love to talk to people and be able to connect with my customers and my team. And I found product management was something that fits me perfectly.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Betty, and thank you for the questions. So time now to move on to our second speech. We have Marguerite Ousley with us. Marguerite is an experienced product manager and the Data and Tools Committee chair for the Black Product Managers Network. To relax, she hangs out with cats, takes online courses, and thinks deeply about the relationships between MCU characters. Definitely something worth thinking about. Her title of her speech is going to be Lessons Learned While Pursuing Product Market Fit. So handing it over to you, Marguerite.
Thank you, Anisha. So as she said, my name is Marguerite, and about 3 years ago, I quit my well-paying product manager job at a respected company. After working on mature products at large companies for my entire career to that point, I was bored. I wanted to try building something new like the characters on one of my favorite TV shows, *Halt and Catch Fire*. And actually a few weeks later, while I was figuring out how to position myself for PM roles at startups, a former colleague asked me to join his startup. He was pivoting and he needed to identify a new market opportunity. Today, I thought I'd talk about my experience with pursuing product market fit. Spoiler alert, I did not succeed, but I learned tons of valuable lessons along the way. And here are a few of those lessons. The first lesson is get started on your real product as soon as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, we got to work immediately. We did a design sprint, we did dozens of interviews to identify a target market. After that, we built an elaborate clickable prototype and interviewed more customers to validate our solutions. We created a compelling pitch deck for investors and even built and demoed a beta app at our own booth at a major tech conference. But somehow, after more than 6 months flew by, we hadn't launched a product. We finally realized that we needed to see real results, not just for potential investors, but to keep ourselves motivated. And once we went to market with our free MVP product, we learned 10 times more than we had during our research phase in a quarter of the time. We should have done it much sooner. And the incoming learning spurred us to move even more quickly. We addressed the feedback from our initial customers in just a week and subsequently improved our net promoter score by more than 30 points. Customers seemed to dig our product, so we thought it was time to try monetizing. And this brings me to the second lesson. Just because customers love your product doesn't mean they will pay for it. Our net promoter score was really good. Qualitative feedback was positive. And most importantly, our customers were sharing our products with their networks, acquiring new customers for us. We wanted to see how much they would pay for the product and launched a series of pricing tests. Unfortunately, they all failed. Not one customer was willing to pay for the product, not even $1. So maybe we shouldn't have launched the product for free initially. Maybe customers didn't love it as much as the data indicated, or maybe we just didn't have the right approach. I actually never know the answer to those questions because I was about to learn another lesson. The third lesson I want to share is that I want to be passionate. I learned that I wanted to be passionate about the problem space I'm working in. After the disappointing B2C pricing tests, we started exploring a partnership with another company. We would adapt our product so it could be used to acquire customers for this company, and we charged that company a subscription fee. The company was really interested, but my co-founders and I actually became less and less engaged. We met less frequently and started exploring other projects. And finally, the CEO proposed that we shut the company down. And to my surprise, I was relieved, even glad the company was shutting down. I can't speak for the rest of the team, but I realized for me, the most exciting aspects of the project had been trying product discovery tactics I hadn't used before. While I cared about serving our users' needs, I was most energized by the process of pursuing product market fit, not our problem space. So if you can't tell by now, I didn't know what I was doing when I started my first startup journey. I had read books like The Lean Startup and a million Medium articles about how to build a successful product, but I had to learn most of the biggest lessons the hard way. And even though I didn't achieve product market fit, I learned a lot. Those lessons have informed subsequent decisions on the job, in my career, and in my personal life. They were well worth my time and effort to learn. Thank you for listening, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Marguerite. And I think we learned way more from your company's mistakes, I would say, rather than if you had succeeded. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so with that, I'm actually going to open it up again for a minute for any questions that people have. I'm sure there's going to be many.
I have a question for Marguerite. That was phenomenal, and thank you for sharing that. Now that you mentioned you learned that space wasn't something that you were passionate about in terms of impact, the problem space. How did you go about discovering the problem space that you were passionate about or are passionate about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. Really, something I don't like doing so much is thinking about myself and what I enjoy doing, what I think is most valuable, most important, and identified. So EdTech is a space that I'm really interested in, and I'm actually interviewing a lot of companies in the EdTech space right now. And I take online classes all the time. I think it's a super important aspect of anyone's life to continue learning.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions? So,
hi. Sorry, I had one last question. Hi, Marguerite. It was so good to hear about your startup journey. So if given an opportunity to discover why monetization failed, where would you start?
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't thought about it for a while because this was a couple of years ago. But I think we would have tried different pricing tests. Like we didn't do 50 tests. We only did a few. So I think we would have brainstormed some other approaches, and I also think we would have grown our audience other ways, like through content marketing, and then sort of tried gone in for the monetization a little bit later on after we had a bigger customer base.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Marguerite, for taking on the questions.
You're welcome. Thanks for the questions, everyone.
And now I'm very happy to introduce Shruti Patra. Shruti is a principal product manager and recently moved with her family from India to the US. She loves to read books replete with fire-breathing dragons and magicians. At present, she's trying to become a cool drummer mom. That's awesome. Her title of her speech is Indian Woman Who? So with that, I hand it over to you, Shruti.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And this is my first icebreaker speech, so please go easy on me. So here I go. There are three kinds of lies: lies, damned lies, and statistics. Well, till the world finds an alternative to statistics, let's believe in them. So according to statistics in 2020, India contributed to 90% to 1.5 million cases of gender-biased infanticide with preference for the male child. I could have been one of the above unfortunate children. I am the youngest child to my parents, who already had a daughter. The societal pressure at this point sort of turns up a notch as a society asks you to have at least one son who can take care of you when you're old and light your funeral pyre when you die. But my parents, being as cool as they are, went ahead to empower their daughters. When you know the world is not ready for your children, what do? A market survey at that point would have yielded dismal results. Do you try to fit them in and ask them to wait for the opportunities to trickle in? Do you teach them to accept rejection because the world doesn't know about them and what new they can bring in? Uh, well, no. When you know your girls can make a difference in the world and inspire others too, you innovate. That's what my parents did. They got us the best education they could provide us, build us self confidence and self worth, not governed by gender. They powered me to stand strong against the barbs and jibes of the world. They taught us not to compare ourselves with what's already out there in the world, but know that you are something more and the world has ever been offered. When Steve Jobs built Apple products, he wasn't dissuaded by what the world was used to, but he found a new market for his products that slowly became mainstream. Somewhere in my career, I took a leap of faith and started a startup on logistics. Women co founders in logistics and technology were unheard of then. Your colleagues and the world around you considered your success as a fluke, as it was attributed to you being different, being a woman, which hence shouldn't last. People just found you interesting, so they're paying you attention, but it wouldn't last. So when you find a niche for yourself in the patriarchal society, I did what any product manager would do. Iterate over yourself by acquiring new skills that meets your customers' need and slowly push them from being nice to haves to must haves, which is why I joined the Toastmasters Club to build, enhance, and make my offerings I have as a woman product manager compelling and broaden the niche my parents helped me carve. I have found my product market fit for myself and aim to make the market bigger and more mainstream for the younger generation to come. I'm fortunate I wasn't one of the 1.5 million people or kids and wish to use this chance to make women leaders a mainstream phenomenon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shruti. That was really inspiring and often something that's not talked often enough, and people need to be more aware of it. And so, because of this, I would like to open the forum up and have anyone who has questions on this. So I'll start out with a question, Shruti. How did you, what was your inspiration behind coming into product management, especially deriving from your experience and basically the background that you came from?
Yeah. So I come from a technology background. I'm a computer science graduate, and I was always interested in technology. Technology is what inspires me, and new technologies is what keeps me awake at night, trying out new things. So with that thought process, when I started my startup, and in a startup, when you are bootstrapped, you have to do everything. I believe. Most entrepreneurs would agree that you sweep the floors, you clean the tables, you open the locks every morning, and you do sales operations, and then you build the product at night. So when I was building the products for since it was a logistics startup, when I was building the products for our pickup agents who were not very well educated, it didn't matter what kind of technology I used in the Android products or how fancy I made the screen. What they wanted was simple and for them very easily to know how they have to navigate and do the next pickup. So that's when I understood the importance of product and how technology is an enabler and product is the driver. So which is where I had, it sort of shifted my mindset towards product and using and seeing technology as it is and not something which is larger than life or what it's sort of excites customers. So yeah. Thank you.
And I see Priyanka has raised her hand.
Yeah, may I ask one more question? First of all, thanks so much, Shruti, for sharing your story. It was very gripping and I could relate to it having grown up in India. So my question was, how did you, I know you talked about, iterating upon your skills from nice to haves to must haves. So what kind of skills, if you can give examples of that, and what did you learn along the way? Just wanted to get a sense of that.
Sure. One thing that I'm still working on, which is why I'm in the Toastmasters club, is working on public speaking. And on the storytelling. I can talk endlessly on technical stuff, like, and explain an architecture, but making it gripping and making it generic enough for all the stakeholders is something that I'm trying to work on and trying to get there. Some other skills that I sort of acquired is self-confidence, as I've talked about in my speech, is my co-founders were all male, and for whatever reason, my fault, therefore, I don't know the environment, how it was. I always attributed myself lesser than what they were. And hence I didn't ask more. I was not confident of what I was bringing to the table. Although I right now, looking back, I believe I did a good amount of job at what I was doing. So that's something that I've worked on and I'm still working on, where I don't question myself just because I'm a woman. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shruti. And after these amazing, amazing speeches that have inspired us, it's time to open it up to table topics. And so with this, I would like to introduce Caroline Cameron, who is our table topics master. So over to you, Caroline.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anwaisha. So the goal of the table topics session is to challenge us to improve our impromptu speaking skills. Structure answers to a question on the spot. The way this will work is I will say a question, pause for a few seconds. The speaker will have
I think Caroline may be having technical issues.
Can you hear me?
You broke up there. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
Sorry about that. Okay. So just saying, I'll repeat again, the goal of the table topic session is to challenge us to improve our impromptu speaking skills, to formulate and structured answers to a question on the spot. And so the way that pause for a few seconds and then pick someone to answer. The speaker will have 1 to 2 minutes to respond to the question. And so the timer will flip on the green screen at 1 minute, at 2 minutes. And to make this a little fun, we will also ask the group to vote for the best table topic speech. This will be collected by our vote counter, Sarah. So please direct message Sarah with the name of the member with the speech you'd like the most. So definitely please pay attention. Any member here who does not wish to be called upon, that also includes guests, just let me know by sending me a direct message that you don't want to be called on. All right, and without further ado, let's get started. So in line with today's topic on product market fit, as we talked about, lots of startups and businesses fail because there's no market need for their product. So conducting product market fit research and understanding the signs of reaching product market fit or not can help us ensure our startups and companies aren't one of the companies that fail. So to dig a little deeper into this topic, I'm going to ask a few questions. So my first question, in your own words, please define, what does product market fit mean to you? And the first person I will call on will be Rosie. Again, the question is, in your own words, please define what does product market fit mean to you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for the question. As an aspiring product manager, what I think about when I hear product market fit is finding a product that is really going to resonate with the users, right? Something that they're going to be able to use often and that they're going to be able to have various multiple use cases, but also satisfy the needs that they're looking for, right? I think it's important that when you're launching a product that you ensure that there's actually going to be a need for it. A lot of times our products tend to fail out in the world, right, in the business environment, because there may have not been a need for it in the first place, or it doesn't directly align to the need that the user has. So I think when it comes to product market fit, it means ensuring that your product is actually going to be usable and that it's going to be successful in meeting all the needs, right? One thing that comes to mind when it comes to like product failures or something that maybe didn't resonate with the best product market fit was Google Glasses, I believe. I think they're still working on it, but they're having to reinvent it and make sure that the needs of the user are actually being met. So that's what product market fit means to me.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosie. Definitely the Google Glass come up a lot. So thanks for bringing that up. And it's actually a great segue into my next question. So the next question for someone new will be, what is an example of a company who was not successful in finding product market fit? And what can we learn from them? And so I am going to call on Monique. Again, the question is, what is an example of a company who was not successful in finding product market fit? And what can we learn from them?
All right. Thank you, Carlene, for the question. So the example that came up, that comes up often is Google Glass. And for me, it was a product that I had heard about. I saw what it looked like, and that was maybe like the original turnoff for me. I just couldn't see myself wearing it. So I don't know a ton exactly of like what it was supposed to do, but my guess is that it was supposed to be like something as a replacement for your phone, or that you'd be able to visualize and have a conversation with people and just do more with. So I think what we can learn from it is that let's see, well, with Google Glass, the fit was not there for people. As far as one of the big reasons is that people found a phone to be successful and do the things that they felt like it needed to do. And one of the reasons why a product is usually successful is because the alternative feels better to whatever the current use is. And I think what we can learn is how important and how people are just used to their everyday way of doing things. And so it's very hard to get people to change. So it's so important for a product to get people to make those changes. And that's an important lesson to learn from it. So thank you for the question.
Great. Thank you so much, Monique. Yes, definitely agree. And maybe a little more market research would have been helpful, and maybe some timing on that too. So for Google Glass. So thank you again. My next question will be, what are some techniques and processes? And I will call on Roxana. Again, the question is, what are some techniques used?
Oh, I'm really sorry. Actually, I think you're breaking up for me. I don't know if anybody else could repeat the question. Yeah. Or could you type it up in the chat?
Carlene, we lost you again. Can you please repeat the question or put it on chat?
Yes, can you hear me?
I could hear you just now, but then I think you just got stuck again. Sorry.
Perfect. So we have the question, what are some techniques and processes used to find product market fit?
Okay, awesome. Thanks for the question. So I guess in my mind, when I think about product market fit, there's kind of the definition of the product and, what kind of needs does it meet, which I think has already been talked about, like making sure we're solving someone's problems and that there's going to be adoption once you launch it. There's also the market side of it, right? So like, who are these groups of users and potential customers? And, kind of how do you define what they are? How do you get the product to them? And how do you maybe like kind of emulate that as part of your maybe testing process of kind of understanding whether you would have this product market fit. So I think first of all, as part of the process of testing out whether you have the fit is, again, identifying really this market and the users and the method of getting that product or the first iterations of the product to that user. And, in terms of some of the specifics of the techniques, I think what's been mentioned is, maybe even just starting with like a website, maybe putting out like a testing, like this product is coming up soon sort of thing, and just kind of gauge interest and see if people maybe sign up for a service or a product that's coming up soon. There's also maybe obviously ways to do user research up front before you even have any kind of maybe concepts or mocks. For software products, there's a lot that you can do with just wireframes and clickable prototypes and just kind of surveying people based off of just kind of early concepts. I work a lot in hardware, so with hardware it's a little bit harder to do that kind of testing, but the techniques that we use for hardware are to maybe just do storyboards and just kind of give presentations around like the concepts. But yeah, these are I think the red means my time is up. These are some of the techniques that I would use.
So much, Roxana. Sorry for my technical difficulties. Hope you can hear me. So going on to the next question, we talked a little bit about an example of something that didn't reach product market fit, but now I would love to know what is reach and have great product market fit. And so I will call on Clara. Again, the question is, what's an example of a company or a product that had great product market fit?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. What's an example of a company or product that had great product market fit?
When I think of a company that has great product market fit, my mind jumps to our social media platforms. I think it's kind of a unique case where prior to something like Facebook, there wasn't really maybe a market, or there wasn't something that was so obvious. But I think with the iterations of Facebook, we saw how now there's this need where if Facebook disappeared, like a lot of us talked about, that's a good measurement of product market fit. If a product disappears, people will complain or people will not be happy about not having that product and will do whatever they can to get that product back. I think once Facebook became popular, we saw more and more people have this need for connection digitally. And so we see these other apps now out there. We have Instagram, we have TikTok now, we have, Snapchat and Twitter, LinkedIn. And so all of these different products that we have out now have a niche in our social media needs, whether it's with LinkedIn, something like career social aspect, or whether it's TikTok with those short videos. Currently right now in my company, I am working with a startup that is working with a client that is building a social finance app. And again, that's like another niche that builds in both
the finance aspect of building your stock or buying your stock and wanting to socialize on it and wanting to trade with other people and make it more of an interactive experience. So yes, I think that these digital products that bring us together socially are reaching that need for us and have a really great product market fit.
Awesome. Thank you, Clara. And I'm glad you touched on measurements and metrics, because that's the next question. So my next question is, how do you assess and measure product market fit? So more of just how do you measure, like what are the metrics you would use to understand product market fit? And I am going to call on Priyanka. Again,
go ahead.
Oh, just going to repeat the question again for you. Again, the question is, how would you measure product market fit and what metrics would you use?
So for product market fit, we can have, so basically we want to see, that the product we have is in line with the customer's needs. So if we just have 3 buckets, for the success metrics, or just measure the success of a product market fit, so we could look at acquisition, retention, and customer engagement. So just looking at customer acquisition, are we able to acquire new customers because they like the product, and so just an adoption rate. And then looking at retention, like are the customers, coming back? Like, do we have repeat customers? Are they coming back to use the product? Or, and then for engagement, you want to see, are they do they want more, and are they really engaged? And, the bounce rate. So we can even look at the bounce rate, customers are spending a lot of time on the product or the app. So I think just metrics around these 3 buckets, and we can just come up with different metrics based on, what product or what app are we looking for. And that can just give us, is our product in line with the customer needs? Is it what the customer really wants? Or is it they think they need it, but they haven't asked for it? So I think we can just get a sense of the success of a product market fit that way. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And then the last question we have is we just talked about measuring and metrics in finding product market fit. Getting more specific and more detailed, one way to find out product market fit is to send out surveys. And those surveys can have a number of questions for people to answer, and you get the feedback on them. When it comes to surveys, how do you think the survey should be designed, and what kind of questions would you include? I'm going to call on Betty, and I'll repeat the question for you. How do you think a survey should be designed, and what kind of questions should be included when you're trying to find product market fit?
Thank you for the question, Colin. So for my current role, I actually do send a lot of surveys to my internal testers. And how we set up those surveys is that it's a very tricky situation, because at Amazon, we have a lot of proprietary information that, although everyone is an Amazon employee that we test with, there's information that we don't want leaked out to the public, especially if they're not closely aligned with the product development team. So we would structure our questions in ways in a sliding scale from 1 through 5, 1 meaning that they're not at all satisfied with that feature, 5 meaning they're very satisfied. And we would typically structure the questions with each feature, like a feature walkthrough, whatever we want to feature in that app, or a hardware product. For example, if we are testing out a doorbell, we would ask them, hey, test out the video quality and let us know if you're satisfied with the product or you're not very satisfied. And in the end, if the product, the aggregate results don't result in a 4 stars and above, that product cannot be launched to the public. So the product team would have to go back to the drawing table to make sure all the metrics are met with 4 stars and above. So that is how we structure our surveys at Amazon. But ultimately, I know that other teams have great ways of doing that as well. So yeah, thank you for the question, and back to you.
Great. Thank you, Betty. Thank you so much. All right, so that concludes this session. Just a reminder, please vote for your favorite response by direct messaging Sarah. We will announce the winner. We'll hand it back over to our Toastmaster, Anwesha. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carlene. And thank you for engaging all of us with your table topics. So now we are moving into our evaluation section. And so with this, I would like to hand this over to our general evaluator, Rosie, who's going to take us through all our different evaluators. So, Rosie.
Thank you. We are now entering the third and final portion of today's meeting, where each of our evaluators will provide their feedback on today's prepared speeches. Then the rest of my team will provide their reports on their different duties. So this includes the grammarian, the counter, and so forth. Lastly, I'll close this section up with providing my general feedback and general evaluation for today's meeting. And with that, I will introduce you to Ashley, our first evaluator. Ashley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rosie. Hello, everyone. And I think Betty is probably going to get pinned here in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. Betty, I think you did a marvelous job in going over your speech, and I absolutely enjoyed the overall just story arc. And I think that's what made it very compelling and pulled me in to your speech. And it's something that is very relatable to everyone here on this call today. What I did enjoy most was your vocal variety and also just your general enthusiasm throughout your speech from start to finish. And as I was listening to you, I was starting to notice that whenever there were points throughout your speech where you didn't feel very comfortable, you began to swivel your chair. And that would make me look at you swiveling in your chair rather than keeping that engagement. And I also noticed that at times you weren't as engaging with the audience because you were looking down and then looking up and just having that transference there throughout your speech. However, I did notice that at one point within your speech, you were very authentic, and at one point you were bursting with pride at accomplishing your goal and overcoming your problem. And honestly, that pulled me right back in, and I was right there with you for the rest of the journey in your speech. And that's the one thing I want to challenge you on. And seeing that moment of just such clarity coming from you, I think if you took a little bit more time to memorize certain portions of your speech, then that way you'll be more engaged with us. You'll keep us more pulled into your speech. And we'll just enjoy how you go forward here with the rest of your speeches with the group and in terms of overall engagement. But ultimately, well done. It's a very fascinating topic, and it can definitely have more room to grow in your future speeches.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley, for that insightful evaluation. With that, I'll pass over the floor to Clara, who will give us our second evaluation.
So I will be evaluating Marguerite. So I want to start off by saying that, Marguerite, I think you have a great Zoom camera presence. Your voice came off as very calm, and you have a very good pace where you're not talking too fast. And so to me, it comes off as very, like, you're very comfortable. You also have great eye contact, and I know that's difficult over a camera, over Zoom. And I think you, through your eye contact and through your presence on Zoom, your speech comes off as very engaging. I'll also say that your introduction was very compelling. Just starting off talking about right away with your challenges, you talked about how you felt bored or quitting, and that really grabbed my attention right away, and I was engaged from the start, and I wanted to learn more. I wanted to hear more about what you had to say. Going into the meat of your speech, I thought your speech was very well organized. You had your 3 lessons, your 3 points. You talked about getting started on product quickly, and then you went into how just because a customer may love the product doesn't mean they're going to pay for it. And then finally, you talked about how it's important to be passionate about the space that you work in. I'd say the 3rd point was what I found to be the strongest in terms of you opening up about yourself. You ended in your conclusion talking about how the lessons you learned informed your career and also your personal life. And that is something I wanted to learn more about. And so I challenge you in your upcoming speeches to open up more about yourself. You know, I learned a lot about your company and the challenges of your company. And I felt like I was getting a cliffhanger and wanted to learn more about how those challenges translated to you, your learnings in your personal life. So yeah, and I think that's something that you actually also mentioned in the Q&A, how it's maybe difficult for you to open up about yourself. And so I would like to see that in your upcoming speeches and maybe something you can work on.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for your evaluation. And now we're moving forward with our final prepared speech evaluator, Lori. Lori, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rosie. And I will be evaluating Shriti. I think we're going to get her pinned. There she is. Great job on your first speech. I know the icebreaker is the hardest, but wow, I was engaged from the start with your opening line. I just found myself saying, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that's so interesting. Wow, I need to write that down. So awesome job. You definitely kept me engaged the whole time, as well as I'm sure everybody else. The one thing about your opening is it wasn't just engaging, but it was also powerful. It taught me something I wasn't honestly fully aware of. So that was so great to like get that right from the start and then learn about you as you kind of went through your speech. So awesome job there. A couple of tips that I do have for you is make sure or feel free to like when you're practicing to time yourself. So that's some advice I got to start with. And it kind of helped me know where I was at in our windows because our speeches have different kind of time limits. And I also realized with myself, I talk really fast when I talk out loud. So timing helped me kind of understand where I was at to make sure I could meet the windows. So that's something that might be able to help you for future speeches. Also, you provided us with so many great facts. One thing that can make those just even more impactful than they already were is to take a short like pause so we can kind of have time to digest the information a little bit. Because I found myself, I was like, oh, I need to write that down. Oh, she just said something really else that was great. So having those pauses would make it a little bit more impactful for us than it already was. Just take it to that next level. But overall, for an icebreaker speech, this was great. I loved the content. I loved how you folded your own personal journey in it. And I am really excited to hear more about your startup experience, especially being an early adopter in that industry that I personally know nothing about. So I am very excited to hear more from you, and you're very confident speaker. So let that confidence shine and keep bringing it to your next speeches. So great job today. And I am very excited to hear about your next speech and what else you have to bring to the table for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for your evaluation, Lori. Now we're moving on to the grammarian report that will be provided by Meenal. She will give us an overview as to how often we use the word of the day, as well as any insights into the language that was used today. Meenal, you have the floor.
Great. Thank you, Rosie. And so I just want to start off by saying I believe all the speakers managed to fit in the word of the day towards the end of their speech. And the other thing I want to add is There were some really clever usages of words and phrases throughout the speeches today. Starting off with Betty's speech, she played on the word for product market fit and used career market fit really well. And she also had a interesting phrase at the end that's where she said, "It is not the destination, but the journey that matters in the end." Both Marguerite and Shruti started off with some really interesting phrases that really captured the attention. Marguerite used spoiler alert, and Shruti used a number, like 3 kinds of, and that really was very effective, I thought. Marguerite had a saying that she used at in answering one of the questions that was really interesting too. She said, important aspect of anyone's life is to continue learning. And Shruti also used an interesting interesting phrase. She used opportunities to trickle in, and I thought that was really catchy. So that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. And now we have Erica, our awe counter, who will give us my favorite report. She will let us know all the ums and ahs we used in today's meeting. Erica, you have the floor.
My favorite report as well. Okay, let's see. Betty had 4 ahs today. And Wisha, I could not find a filler word for the life of me, so congratulations. Marguerite had 5+ ahs. Shruti had 5+ ahs, 5+ ums, a so, a repeat I, and a yeah. Priyanka had 5+ ahs, 2 ums, 1 like, and a filler word of an and. Rosie, you had 4 ahs today, 1 so, and 1 right. Monique, you had 1 and a repeat, an I repeat, and a that repeat. Carlene had 1 and 1 so. Roxana had 5+ ahs, 2 ums, and a repeat word of. Clara had 5+ ahs, 2 ums, and a repeat word these. Lori had 1 ah, 2 ums, and 1 so. Minal had 5+ ums. And if I didn't count myself, but if I would have +5 ahs and ums. So great job, everybody. I hope you this helps you learn your ahs and ums.
Perfect. Thank you, Erica, for the report. Now we're going to move over to our timer, report, which will be led by Sam. She will give us some insights into how well we occupied our time. And Sam, you have the floor.
Thanks, Rosie. Wow, what a day for timing today. Thanks, guys, for bearing with me. We were in Toy Story Land for a while and had some technical difficulties throughout, but we got through it and I got everyone's time. Really awesome job for this meeting. 4 speeches. Betty, you were at 4:56. Marguerite, you were at 5:06. Shruti, you were at 3:49. And for table topics, Rosie, you were at 1:15. Monique, you were at 1:45. Roxana, 2:11. Clara, 2:05. Priyanka, 1:57. Betty, 1:24. Evaluations, Ashley, you were at 1:49. Claire, you were at 2:13. You guys were you guys knew what timing window you were in for table topics. If you hit above 2 minutes, that's when you hit above that target mark. For evaluations, if you hit past 3 minutes, you're above that target mark. So overall, really great job, everyone. And again, thank you for bearing with my timing today. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Totally understandable. It's working from home and being remote. So completely understand with the technical difficulties. Next, we will move over to our vote counter, Sarah, who will share with us who won the vote for best table topics.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. We had compelling table topics, and I think that was shown in the tie that we have between Rosie and Clara. So congratulations, and back to you.
Awesome. Congrats, Clara, as well. Awesome. And now we're going to move over into the last part of this portion. During today's meeting, I took some notes on everything that did happen, everything that didn't happen, as well as notes on some of the good examples of preparation, organization, and so forth. And so first off, I'll start off with great job to the Sergeant of Arms for letting us know that we would start late. Ideally, we would love to start on time, but I completely understand when we need to start later. One thing I would suggest, though, is that maybe we send out another reminder to our members that if we do have a role that we try and be on time, maybe about 5 minutes or so. That way we can ensure that we do start on time and that we try and avoid as many technical difficulties as possible. But overall, great job. And then also great job to our Toastmaster of the day for leading her very first meeting as a Toastmaster. She did a great job in remembering the 1 minute speech pause. I also loved that she incorporated the interactive feedback that we had last time and started allowing members to ask questions to the speakers. One suggestion here is that we try and keep it to 1 minute. I think we were pushing on time, but overall, I absolutely loved all the questions that were asked. They were all very insightful. So thank you so much, Anwisha, and also for providing us a very interesting introduction to this meeting. It really set the tone. As for our grammarian, I loved the examples you gave us in the beginning as to how we could use the word of the day. And our timer, thank you so much for the timer report. One thing I would suggest, if we do end up moving forward with incorporating the interactive questions for future timers, would love to have the timer background in the back. That way we all know when we do approach that 1 minute mark, we know when to move on to the next section. So that's something to think about for next time. To the table topics, great job on the questions. They were very insightful and allowed us to have some great conversations there. The evaluations, great job on providing how our speeches could be improved. I also love that all of the speeches were personal and the evaluators were able to tie in that feedback as well. Overall, it was a great meeting and it really followed our normal structure. So great job, team. And now back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Rosie. I really appreciate it. And we'll make sure we go back and we incorporate these suggestions. Absolutely, absolutely. So with this, we are officially kind of through our entire cycle of our typical speeches and table topics. And so last but not the least, I think this is the critical part, especially around pathways. So I'm happy to introduce our fabulous VP of Education, Laurie Edwards, who's going to take us forward.
Thank you, Anwisha. So I'll wrap this up since we are at time. In the chat, I just posted the upcoming meeting roles for the next couple of meetings you'll see in there. So if you do have a role, the one thing I think that helps us all out, especially if you've ever been a Toastmaster before, is helping us confirm that you'll actually be at the next meeting. So we've been doing a great job at this, but as we saw today, some people didn't show up, so we had to scramble at the last minute to fill the roles. So be on the lookout for emails from the upcoming Toastmasters just to confirm that you'll be at the next meeting and you're capable of doing the role that you're signed up for. Additionally, the emails, as Erica called out earlier, about helping fill roles has been great. Of course, if anyone has any feedback about that process, always open to it. But if you can't make a meeting, just help us try to find your replacement. It makes it easier on all of us and make sure that we have a great meeting. The next part, if you want to sign up for a role, because the best way to know what role you're doing is to just pick which one you want to do. We have a great form for that. So you can, in the chat now. There's the form to suggest any roles that you want for our upcoming meetings. Those come directly to myself, and then I try to get everybody what they're requesting. But of course, if we have 2 requesting for the same thing, we got to pick and choose. So best way to be prepared is to pick what you want to do, because that's what we're here for. And last thing I have is, after today's meeting, I'm going to do a short training on pathways. It's totally optional. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. It will be recorded so you can watch it back as well. But if anyone has questions about pathways specifically, we will do that in just a couple of minutes. And that is all I have today. So I will turn it over to, I think, the SSA to wrap us up and close us out.
Thanks, Lori, and thanks everyone for a great meeting today. I really enjoyed listening to everyone's discussions about product market fit, and I felt like it was a really great meeting. So thank you.